So what was it like for me from 7th grade up and through 12th, where in 6th grade I was going to this specialty school that was designed around kids with learning disabilities, like me with dyslexia. And so in 7th grade, when I was transitioning out to just a regular private school we have here in the islands, it was pretty stressful, right? I mean, switching schools is stressful straight up. Plus, the school was way bigger, right? And I already had some anxiety issues just having to go around and interact with all these different people and navigate hierarchies and shit. But by the time I was going there, I already knew I was definitely dyslexic, so I was kind of sweating like the potential workload that I was going to be having at this new school. Now my grades were pretty bad. I mean, I had like a 2 point something GPA, 2.6, 2.5, something like that. But I actually don't think that was the dyslexia's fault as much as it was just me being a bad student and screwing off and, not trying hard enough on my homework and doing the bare minimum to get by, not studying for tests and shit like that. So I think that's really the main reasons why my grades suffer over there. But, also just kind of coming to the new school and having to navigate a much bigger school than the one I was just coming from. It actually worked out kind of good because I already had a built-in group of friends when I was going to this new school, because I knew some people who lived in the town near me that were going to this school. And plus I played soccer with a couple of them for, multiple years. So I had a good friendship with them. So it was cool being able to come into this group that I was really kind of looking up to. Some of them were in higher grades than the grades that some of us, the younger guys, were in. So that part was really neat and I kind of liked it, but we also got in a lot of trouble, you know what I mean? Where it was kind of like the surfer, skater kids, and, we get in trouble for doing a lot of stupid shit. Now, we weren't really that bad, but we still definitely, as a group, got in trouble for some silly, stupid shit. And I actually ended up getting kicked out of this school when I was a junior. And it really came down to, because some people in some of the higher ups in the school kind of had it out for our group anyway. But the reason why I got kicked out really came down to these two strikes against me. So we used to always play hacky sack, right? And we called it cracky sack because, we're all standing in a circle, passing the ball around. And if you try to kick it and you whiff or you miss, you do that 3 times, then you have to stand there. We all get to line up. We all get a one-time full blast crack in your shoulder. And some of us could hit pretty hard already by then, where for me, this is kind of a sidetrack here, but like my dad has been very much into martial arts forever, right? And then, so from like a really young age, he would have me and my older brother, we had a little gym at the horse ranch where we'd be learning how to punch and hit mitts and hit the bag and stuff like that. Like even when UFC was very first coming out and they had the VHS tapes going around, my dad got that shit like fucking way early on. And then on top of that, a lot of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, one of the first places they came and started teaching was Hawaii. So my dad was, in on that from a really early time. So he was kind of trying to train us and stuff. But point is, I could already punch pretty hard by 11th grade. And then we even had this other guy too. He was like the star baseball player in the grade, and he actually ended up making it to the major league. So this guy was super legit, and man, he could fucking hammer too. So we played this game, and sometimes some of the guys that were playing with us, they really did not want to get punched. But if you're gonna be playing, if you don't want to get punched, don't play the game. So one of the guys there, and this wasn't even the first time we do it when we get busted for doing this, but he just had and he thought of this himself. So he's like, oh, why don't you guys give me a swirly instead of punching me in the arm? And, if you tell us something like that, because first of all, that is kind of hilarious and funny thing to do. We're like, hell yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So as we're playing hacky sack, we keep kind of hitting it towards him to try and make him whiff more. But, so anyway, this was like the second or third time we did it. It definitely wasn't the first time. So like we're over there in the bathroom and the toilet was clean. We're not like punking him out or anything. He chose to do this over getting punched in the shoulder. So we're over there. We were right by the toilets, dunking his head in it. And then just because we're dumb and we didn't have anybody watching the door, a teacher walks in this time and catches us doing that. Probably would have got kicked out just right then and there. But, the teacher that caught us was actually my paddling coach who I had a really good relationship with. So, he could kind of vouch for me that I wasn't just some punk doing this shit. And then even the guy that we were giving a swirly to, he even kind of vouched for it and said, hey, like they weren't making me do it. I wanted to do this because we're playing cracky sack and I didn't want to get punched in the shoulder. And so anyway, that was like the first main strike. They're like, hey man, you fuck up again, you gone. Also, right after that, hacky sack was banned at the school. And then the second strike, which is not good, but by the time I was in 11th grade, because my older brother looks just like me, I had his 21 ID, right? So plus at this time too, man, because where I was living at that horse ranch, and every night I had that whole thing to myself. So we used to just party there like crazy all the time. But anyway, at some point we get this really bright idea is, hey, you know, if we ever have like an open period before or after lunch, we'll just sneak off campus and go drink. So we started doing that. Didn't take too long until we got busted. So we're doing that one time. I come back into class, you know, I end up falling asleep in class. My teacher actually like let me sleep like the entire class period, and then she comes to wake me up in the end. I look up at her and give her like this alcohol breath, and she's like, you go to the office. And a very terrible phone call ensued after that. They called my parents and all this terrible shit happened, and I got kicked out of that school. So after that, I ended up going to public school, which is just, you know, the school like right in the town by where I was growing up. And, you know, that, you know, something that stood out there just on the whole dyslexia front is like the public and private schools here are really pretty different. And of course, they're different in the sense that like the group of people that go there are different. You know, you got a lot more of the like more wild, crazy nuts fuckers at the public schools. But aside from that, it's like the learning curriculum is vastly different. I remember going there thinking like, oh man, like this is so easy. Like what dyslexia? This is simple. And then like the first semester I went there, I got like really good grades. But because again, I was a pretty bad student, I just quickly started, you know, doing the bare minimum to get by, which was so much less than I had to do at the private school. That my grades still dropped down to like a 2.5 GPA or something like that. Yeah, so the public school, that was also a very stressful transition for me to make, of course. But luckily over there too, I also had a group of friends I could kind of fall into and kind of click up with without having to kind of just navigate that shit as a, you know, a brand new junior coming in like partway through the year. So yeah, high school kind of sucked. Honestly, I was always just waiting for it to be over. And yeah, I'm glad it is over now, and no need to go back.